Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Devlin's Race Room, and as you can see, my GT Omega wheel stand, has arrived. It arrived yesterday. So I'm going to give you a quick run through of my meagre setup. It's nothing special or amazing, but I'm going to give you a few of my first thoughts in regards to the wheel that I have, which I've owned now for 2 or 3 days. I've only had about 4 or 5 hours actual seat time with the wheel, and a few of my thoughts on the stand. I will be doing a more in-depth review of each thing. So the wheel and pedals I'll do a review of, the gear shifter I'll do a review of that, and the wheel stand I'll do a review of that as well once I've had a bit of time living with them, and I can give you a more accurate idea of my thoughts. I'll upload those videos, but I don't want to just give you my opinion now and in a week or so it change. As I say, I can only give you my initial impressions to begin with. So let's give you a quick rundown. I've got the Logitech G920 wheel and pedals and the shifter. They came as a package for £170, I believe, from Game. I'll post links in the description to where I've bought everything from. I got Dirt Rally 2.0 included in the bundle, which I believe if I go trade that in, I'll get about 20 quid for. So call it £150 thereabouts for the wheel and pedals and the shifter. Had a quick blast on it after about a day, so not very long at all. After about a day's worth of using the wheel and pedals, I'd not actually set the shifter up at that point. But after about a day or so on my daughter's drawing table, I had it clamped on because it's got a wheel clamp. It's also got screw holes so you can hard mount it, which I've hard mounted each item here onto the stand. I think the wheel's got a couple of screws. The wheel pedals, which you would think, I think there's 6 holes in the pedals, but it's only got 2 screws in because of the way it's drilled. I could only align it to get 2 screws in, and the shifter, I believe, has got 2 screws in there as well. But yeah, after being on a rickety table for a day, I realised that I needed something a bit more robust and something ideally foldable. Because I've got 2 young children, my setup has to be portable. I have to be able to fold it up and put it away. The living room itself doesn't normally look like this. There's normally kids toys everywhere. But I've moved those out of the way and pushed the sofa back, which is usually what I will be sitting on to play. But for the purpose of this video, I've just kind of moved stuff to the side. And I don't want to have to be doing that every time I play, because obviously it's going to get annoying and it eats into your game time. So I wanted something that was quite quick to put away. This folds up. In fact, I'll show you a quick video of that right now. And as you can see, this is what it looks like when it's flattened or folded up. As you can see, I've had to remove the shifter attachment. Which, as you see, it just pulls straight out. But obviously the wires are still attached, so I've got to be really careful when I take it into the kitchen area, the cupboard, as this is actually really quite heavy, especially with the wheel and pedals on there, and it's got like bracket things underneath, so picking it up, they kind of like dig into your hand when you're lifting it up. But the actual stand itself, I don't know if I'll be able to do it with one hand. Yep. As you can see, the whole point of this, I believe, is, don't know if I trust that, is that it will balance, it will stand up on its own. I'm going to lay it back down because I don't fully trust it. And then I just stick that underneath, and that goes up against a wall. So it doesn't actually take up that much space when it's folded up. Quite impressed, really. But portability and weight, and obviously this shifter thing, is a bit of an issue. So there we go. You can see how the wheel folds up for storage. As I say, it is a shame that I have to, because when I fold it, it hits the shifter post. So, and I could just pull it out further because this moves depending on, where, for your positioning, where you want it. It doesn't move up and down, but it'll move backwards and forwards. But when it's stood up, you can imagine you know, it's be coming out here and make it a lot less smaller. I don't know what the word is, but you get what I mean. So I do detach it, and obviously over time I'm worried that the wires will get damaged, and folding things up. And it doesn't take very long to fold up. As I say, the only issue is it's quite heavy, but it doesn't take very long to fold up at all. It's not too bad, and put away. And I just plug in the USB, which I've not actually taken the little bit of foam off there, and the PSU. I've got the cable running underneath the TV, and the USB I'll just plug straight into the side of the Xbox. And I position this in front of the TV, pull the sofa around, sit down, and away I go. So it doesn't take very long at all to pack away. Not as portable as I was hoping, just mainly because of the weight and obviously the shifter. You can actually, the shifter mount, you can actually get a different one. I believe it connects here somewhere. I think you pull these out and it'll connect, and it'll kind of sit there, but it'll connect via that. Now, don't be like me, read the description of what you're actually buying. This said it came with the wheel mount, the shifter mount, and it said V1, and I didn't read it fully. On the pictures it did show it connecting that way. I've realised that that's the shifter mount V2, the version 2 or whatever they call it. This is the version 1. You can buy the actual shifter mount for I think about a tenner, £10 shipped, £15, something like that. But I was under the impression, from not reading things properly, that this would be able to connect either way, because I ideally didn't want to have to do that. Like if it did connect that way, I probably would be able to leave it connected the entire time. So I may buy the actual other connector, or find a way of mounting it. I'll figure something out, so I don't think that's going to be a permanent solution the way it currently is, but it's workable for the moment, and it all feels, you know, really sturdy. It's really so much better. I had just the wheelbase on the carpet when I initially started playing, and the pedals on the G920, the pedals themselves were really, well, the brake pedal itself is really stiff. You really got to give it some. The clutch, quite easy. Accelerator, even easier still. But the brake itself, Logitech they've done some kind of internal mod. It comes as stock, so it's meant to help with braking thresholds and stuff, but some people do find it too stiff. I'm going to try and learn to live with it, because the only other option is opening it up and voiding the warranty, trying to mod it, which I don't ideally want to do, but we'll just see how livable it is. So yeah, I'll give you my initial impressions on each thing. The wheel stand itself initially, as I say, it didn't take very long to set up. It is adjustable. You have to just unscrew things, and some of them, because of the screw that goes in, you have to pull it all the way out before you can actually adjust things. Some of them, like this, the wheel mount itself, you can raise this up and down, but you don't have to fully undo this. You just loosen it and it will pull. It's a bit stiff at the moment. I don't know if it'll loosen up in time. The actual base, it's mounted on here. This, you can tilt this like this. Don't know if you can see in there, depending on what angle you're sat at. The shifter, as I say, that will move that way. Nearly fall over. It's not height adjustable, but you know, I tell a lie, it is height adjustable, sorry. You can actually undo that and it will lift. However, the post that's in here is really quite short, so I can only raise it a few inches. Otherwise, when I screw it in, literally the post is sat on top of the screw, and obviously it's not secure, it wobbles. So the post that's in there is actually quite short. It's got these rubberized little grips underneath, so you know it's really not going anywhere. The wheel, as I say, everything's hard mounted. The wheelbase was an absolute nightmare to mount. I had, unfortunately, I think pretty much mounted everything. I did the pedal base. I did that last of all, and it was a nightmare because I had everything tipped on its side. So I was trying to hold the wheels, which are quite heavy. The pedals, I was holding the pedals with one hand and trying to get the screw in with the other hand. At about 12 o'clock last night, and it was dark and I couldn't see where the hole was, but we got there in the end. As I say, it's not completely lined up, but you know, it'll do for now. So the plan is to use the sofa. You can see where the sofa usually goes. I just basically tilt the sofa and have the wheel directly in front of the TV. And that's kind of how I've been playing, albeit on the my daughter's table. I've not actually used this wheel stand on the sofa yet with the sofa combination. I just got a kitchen chair last night to have a quick go on it. So yeah, that's basically it. Trying to think of any points that I should. Don't know if I've covered it already. As I say, this feels a bit like a toy. It's a bit cheap, but I'd like more of a clunk, you know, when you go into gear and things, for it to feel a bit more clunky. The wheel itself, force feedback, it varies from game to game, but overall, when it's good, it's really good. But, you know, I'm not coming from a Fanatic or a Thrustmaster TMX wheel. I don't know what they're like. TMX, I believe, has got a belt driven. This is a gear driven. Force feedback, I hear belt driven's more smoother, but the reason I didn't go for the TMX Pro, which was the other wheel I was looking at, it was either PS4 or Xbox One. As I say, most of my gaming's done on Xbox One, so I went for the this version. And the TMX Pro was the other wheel I was looking at, but it was about £300, I think was the best deal I could see. And that was just for the pedals. It was the TMX Pro, so it was the upgraded pedals. I believe if you get the TMX pedals, they're not very good, but if you get the upgraded pedals, 31PA or whatever they're called, they look very similar to this. But I think these have got 255 steps of registration when you're pressing down on the pedal. The TMX Pro pedals, the 31PA, whatever they're called, they've got like 1055 or something. Don't quote me on the numbers, but they're a lot more accurate in that regard. And as I say, the force feedback, the belt driven force feedback's apparently a lot smoother. However, I've heard that the reliability isn't as good on that particular wheel, and I wanted the full setup. I wanted the shifter as well, and the shifter for that, I think the base shifter you can get, it's about 160 quid, 150, 160 pounds for the additional. So almost what I paid for this for the shifter alone. So obviously space being a premium for me, also price and funds as well, is it's not cheap bringing up kids. So, you know, I knew I'd probably have to get a wheel stand as well, so price did come into it. One of the pros with the TMX, the Thrustmaster wheels and the TMX Pro especially, is you can upgrade the rim. This is a fixed rim. I've seen people mod it, they've removed the rim and put their own wheel on. But the TMX, you can get loads of different ones, and it just kind of unclips and you pull it out. And you can change, there's different shifters and different pedals, and you know, it's basically an entry level, and you can kind of, sorry my stomach there, it's breakfast time. So yeah, you can basically upgrade it as you go, whereas this is kind of, there's various mods that people do, but what you see is what you get essentially. You can't really change anything on it. But for me, it's just an entry level, kind of the cheapest routing, the cheapest force feedback routing anyway. There was a couple of other wheels I was looking at, but they had no force feedback, and that was a deal breaker for me. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts, initial impressions. This is my setup. One other final point is I have been streaming quite a bit, and I use my Kinect as a camera, so streaming straight to Mixer from the Xbox One. Don't have to get my Elgato out. I've got an Elgato, but it's quite old now. I don't think it even does 60 frames a second. I don't even know if it does 1080p. I know it does 720 because it's the Elgato HD from years ago. I don't know if it might do 1080. I don't know. It might do. There's no point in getting anything that did 4K anyway, because as I say, I've got a 4K TV, but not the console that outputs that yet. So anyway, I didn't want to have more wires and computers everywhere and everything else hooked up to my laptop. So what I do is I just stream straight to Mixer. Nearly dropped my phone. I stream straight to Mixer, and I can download the video from Mixer and upload it straight to YouTube, which is what I've been doing. However, the Kinect on the first stream I did, everything was fine, everything was perfect. But on the the other two streams that I've done, the sound kept cutting out, which is a bit of a problem, obviously. I don't know if it was the Kinect itself or the connection. Not 100% sure. It's going to require a bit more investigation. But the reason I bring that up is, if you do like to stream, this wheel doesn't have a headset connector. You have to have a controller plugged in as well. I think for most of the games that I've tried it with, you can just turn a controller on and the wheel will still work. I've had it where I've gone into the map on a game, looking at the map and setting a waypoint, which is far easier to do on a controller than a wheel. So, yeah, I would recommend thinking about that if you do like to stream. What I'm going to do in the future is I'll have a controller plugged in at the side of me, and I've got a play and charge kit down there, so I'll just plug the controller in so it doesn't go to sleep. It's extra wires, but hopefully that'll make the sound quality a bit better, because, you know, it cutting out all the time. It just wasn't. It was. I don't know. People watching the stream didn't mention it, so I don't know. I don't know if it was when I downloaded the video, when I uploaded it to YouTube. As I say, some more investigation required. But obviously, if you can't hear what I'm saying, then, you know, it's a bit of a deal breaker, really. People aren't going to want to watch a video where you can just hear that all the time. And I just thought I didn't really give you an overview of the buttons. There's not really a lot to go into. There's the standard A, X, Y, B, the D-pad, menu, and where's my finger? Menu, back button, Xbox home button, RSB and LSB, which I think that's the stick buttons, I believe. I'll be honest, I've tried pressing those buttons in a couple of games to see what they do, and they didn't do anything. I've been using the wheel pretty much stock. I've not really gone into the settings on any of the games or remapped anything, so that might be the reason behind that. Again, in my in-depth review, I'll go into that in more detail. And finally, in regards to buttons, on the other wheel I had, the actual paddle shifters, it was like the mechanism was in here. So when you clicked it, it was really nice, and it had quite a bit of travel. This doesn't have a massive amount of travel, and I don't know if you can see, there's a little button down here, a little button in there. So when you press the paddle, it's just pressing that button in, and they feel a bit flimsy, a bit bendable. So it's passable, it'll work, and, you know, for me, if a car's got paddle shifters, I like to use a paddle shifters. If it's got a gear shifter, I'll use a gear shifter. So it's not a case of just using that all the time. I will be using that a fair bit. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but I was hoping that, especially for the price, they would be a bit more better manufactured, a bit more, you know, well engineered. I don't know what to how to describe it, but yeah, they're just not there. Especially, one of the things I really loved about my older wheel was the paddle shifters. You know, when you shift up, when you give it that, you know, it click and it'd feel clunky, not clunky, but it had a solid feel to it. It was really quite nice. But, you know, as I say, it's not a deal breaker, but again, something to bear in mind. That was when I first changed gear, a bit underwhelming, a bit of a letdown. And as you can see, give you an angle from the front, looks a bit like a car, I suppose. So yeah, that's my setup as it currently stands, guys and gals. There's not really much more I can say. As I say, stay tuned for the full in-depth reviews. Once I've had a bit more time with them, living with them, I'm sure I'll probably come across a few more pros and cons to throw in and give you a bit more in-depth into each thing, points and thoughts and considerations. But yeah, to summarise, all in all, cost me about £270. The gear shifter, wheel, pedals and Dirt Rally 2.0 was £170. The wheel stand £95. Not as portable as I would like in regards to the weight of it, and having to dismantle certain bits of it, and the wires constantly being connected. I'll have to get some cable ties and try and tie them to the frame itself so they don't move around too much, because that's my big fear, is putting it away all the time, causing damage over time and things rubbing against things. And But yeah, overall, going from a controller to this, it's obviously a massive step up. So, you know, that's why I kind of throw that in at the beginning, because obviously I'm going to be slightly biased in regards to that. You know, anything to me is going to feel like a massive improvement over a controller. So yeah, do bear that in mind. But, you know, as an entry level, getting started, I'm really, really happy. There is a learning curve, obviously, going from a controller to a wheel, and I'll document that more in future videos. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that give you a bit of an insight into things. I'm sure I had more to say, and I've completely, you know, missed some of the points I wanted to make. But feel free to ask any questions down below, and I'll answer any, you know, questions. I'll do my best to answer any anyway that you may have in regards to any of this. And yeah, if there's enough questions, I'll probably do a follow-up video, or if there's anything you want to see. But yeah, if you like what you see, guys, give me a like. Any questions, let me know. And if you want to stay tuned for more, do hit the subscribe button. Help grow my channel. I'm only just starting out, as you can see. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so that when I do upload, you will be notified. Right, guys, I'm Devlin. This is Devlin's Race Room. Thanks for watching. Oh, you still here? Well, there's a little treat for you for sticking around till the end of the video. And because I know all the way through that video it was on your mind, I've saved this. The best till last. And this is why I've still got my fingernails. This is what you want, isn't it? Can't even get it off. But yeah, I know anyone who comments. There we go. Look how shiny it is. I know anyone who comments is going to be saying, remove the plastic. There we go. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.